I'm so excited. We're at a new season of the Umbrella Academy. Was this something you auditioned for? Did it come across your desk and they wanted you for it?
I auditioned for it. I love the idea of it coming across my desk. Like I don't know if I have a desk at an office, but I love that image. Yeah, I got an audition and they're very secretive, so I actually didn't even know initially what it was for. I thought it was this sort of, I don't even know, new superhero show. I didn't really know what was going on. They had a made up script. It was like super secretive. And when I knew they were interested in me, I quickly realized what it was for. And I became extremely excited.
How did they, well, maybe they didn't initially describe Alfonso to you because it was so secretive, but once you did find out this role, what did they tell you about him? What kind of backstory did they give you?
I mean, they were like Alfonso truly believes he's the sexiest member of the Sparrow Academy. And I really think he is. They were like, Alfonso loves beer. He loves pizza. He loves, berating his opponents. He loves to fight. Like he loves simple pleasures. And what started to happen, to be honest, when I first got it, there wasn't a lot on the page, and I started to really have some fun and improvise a little bit. And we slowly sort of between what they had begun to create. And as soon as I put on the Alfonso face and the body, which is, I mean, it was just insane. I've never in my life had the opportunity to put on a mask like that for a real TV show. It sort of the character sort of started to form. I started to have a lot of fun with it, and his sort of sense of humor started coming out, and where he kind of fit within the group started coming out. And you put on the face, you put on a body like that, you really, like, you have no choice but to completely change who you are and just kind of go with it. So I sort of tried to get out of the way and let Alfonso come out.
Were you familiar or had you worked with any of your Umbrella Academy co-stars before this, or were they all new to you?
I mean, Elliot Page, I had met years earlier in Los Angeles, and he is amazing. So I was really excited to get to work with him. Brittany Oldford, who plays Faye in the Sparrow Academy, actually went to my elementary school. I'm a few years older than her, but we were quickly like, oh, like we grew up like a few blocks apart. We were just kind of like, what are the chances that we're each in this crazy thing together? Everyone else I met for the first time there and was pretty pleasantly surprised at how kind and lovely and weird everyone was.
I'd love to hear the process you went through to become Alfonso physically, putting the face and the body on.
Yeah. I mean, it was about, I want to say, a 3-hour process every day. It it was it was pretty daunting at the beginning, but quickly I quickly understood kind of what would the whole process of putting something like that on, what it would entail. But I would come in about 3 hours earlier than everyone else, and with the help of this incredible prosthetics team, they would start to lay these sort of pieces of latex all over my face and my neck. And like, I think there's about like 1 inch that's actually my own skin, and the rest is, we got new eyebrows they put on for me, and new sideburns, and the cut and the nose. And so that whole process took about 3 hours, and then I would slip on sort of a bodysuit underneath my costume and would just sweat for many hours in a row. Yeah, it was a challenge. It really took me a second to navigate that and figure out how to be okay. But it was crazy. I wore this sort of cooling vest underneath my costume, and they would pump ice cold water through this vest because I was so hot. And I don't want to give anything away before the shows come out, but there's a lot of physical scenes where I am sweating quite a bit. So you add that on top of, just layers of latex. It was, it was crazy. But, the whole cast really looked out for me. Like everyone was kind of like, are you okay? And
Tom is old
really
hat at this. He knows what it
you know what? I
takes.
had Tom took me aside on my first day and he was like, these are the things I wish that I knew. He was like, you're going to want to be able to zip out of your shirts. He's like, you're going to want to feel good. He's like, your neck needs to be like, he was really, because I think he really, in season 1, I think he really had to figure out how to do that. But Tom at least has his own face.
Yeah.
I don't even have my own face.
That's true. What was your first thoughts then when you looked in the mirror and you're like Alfonso at this point?
I was just like, what is going on? Yeah, it was pretty wild. It was a lot of laughing. I mean, the face is obviously quite different than my own. So I just immediately it was like being in theater school or something. I was like, who is this human? Like, how does he kind of move and how does he speak and it was really a joy to get to work like that amidst the horrible sweating.
We talked a little bit, you talked a little bit about it, that you improv'd a little bit, I guess, during your audition, but was there any room to improv during actual scenes?
Yeah, I mean, the scripts are great. Steve Blackman is such a innovative and weird and dark writer. So to be honest, you don't want to touch anything, but he said, give me what's on the page. And then he would say, if you really want to try something, go for it. So yeah, a lot of the kind of reactions, a lot of the weird lines, I'm in a whole bunch of group scenes where there's a whole whack of us all together. So yeah, it did kind of create the opportunity to have some fun and improv a little bit. And it was pretty, it was fun and interesting to see what takes they ended up choosing. Because some of it they came from ad libs and some of it was scripted. So yeah, it was pretty fun to see it.
You also mentioned the stunt work you had to do, which I'm sure is quite different from when you're looking like yourself and you don't have all of this extra body to you. What kind of advice or at least training did they give you for the stunt work?
I talked to Tom a lot about just kind of how to navigate being in a big suit. What's funny is when I'd first been cast, I think it might have been a mistake, but they sent me, because it was during lockdown, they sent me weights. And I assumed, I was like, oh, like, I guess this is a weird way of them saying, like, you need to kind of bulk up, like get some boulders going, So I was like, all right, like, I guess I got to look good. Maybe my shirt has to come off. So I'm kind of like starting to work out. And then very quickly, when I talked to Steve Blackman, he was like, you can actually stop the working out. Here's your body and have fun. So, so it was, it was I don't know, it was funny. I guess I was sort of hoping like, oh, this is my show where I'm gonna have to get some abs or something. And then it was just, very very funny. In terms of the fight scenes, like I guess I have a background in some dance. I played Spider-Man on Broadway. Like I've done some fight scenes before, and the challenge was sort of just navigating it within the suit. And I don't really have peripheral vision, so it was just sort of like really trusting everything. And again, like what just started to happen organically is when I was in the thing, like you start to move in a different way, you start to fight in a different way. And we had a lot of time to rehearse some of those scenes and those moments. So when I would be in costume, I'd try to grab the other people and try to run some stuff. And then it's fun. It's like make believe. It's like I used to do superhero skits with my sister in my basement as a kid, like where I would fight her, and she'd be like, "Stop it!" And I'd be like, "No, this is the scene." It felt like it was doing that, but for
Full
real.
circle.
Yeah, it was full circle for sure.
Well, I do love the humor that Alfonso injects into his role in the Umbrella Academy. I, I have to say, it must have been hard for at least some people to keep a straight face during those snarky comments.
Yeah, yeah, it was. I mean, there's a lot of funny characters on the show, and like Tom Hopper just cracks me up, everything he does. And there would be a few scenes where he was just like, "I can't actually look at you, Jake, because you're ridiculous right now." So yeah, there's a lot of moments of just, yeah, trying to keep a straight face, try to keep it going for sure.
The season comes out tomorrow, and you're a part of social media. Are you looking forward to that fan feedback you're going to be receiving instantly to when we meet your character?
I mean, I guess so. Yeah. I mean, it's, I'm such a fan of the show. I was genuinely a fan of the show before being on it, so it's a little bit surreal, to be honest, to be a fan of something, and then get to be in there and get to be acting with these characters that you've been watching for the past few seasons. So yeah, this whole thing has been a gift and really fun, and I think people are going to really like it. I'm excited for people to see it.
Will you be sharing any behind the scenes videos or photos that you took?
Yeah, I have a bunch of stuff. I'm like, am I okay? When can I share stuff? Like, all this, I know they're so secretive about every aspect of this. Everything from talking in interviews and what we're allowed to share kind of leading up to it. But I don't know. I think when the thing comes out, I think it's pretty fair game. So I think a lot of the cast have been sitting on all this material. I mean, we wrapped filming like a year and a half ago, so it's been a long time of kind of sitting on these great videos. And so yeah, I think a lot of that stuff is going to come out tomorrow for sure.
I'm excited if there's a time lapse video of you putting Alfonso together.
Oh, like Vecna.
Yeah.
Just like, have you seen that video? I
No, I
do. I
haven't,
do
but
have a ton.
there's a lot of
Oh yes,
people who put together clips of like sitting in the chair, makeup chair, and it just goes like ridiculously fast of the three
I do.
hours.
I do have a time lapse 3 hour video of me doing that. So yeah, I definitely will post that at some point for sure.
Oh my goodness. What do you think it is about Umbrella Academy that just continues to make people so fascinated and have so much fun tuning in?
I mean, I think it's a different kind of superhero show. It's kind of a dark spin on the superhero show where it's all about these these people with powers who had this horrible childhood, and they're adopted by this horrible guy, and they're messed up because of it. They're trying to kind of find themselves, and the whole show is kind of about their weird love for each other despite all this dark, like it's a really fascinating tone to the show. It's got a lot of heartbreaking moments and a lot of comedy and dark comedy, mixed with and crazy fight scenes and crazy needle drops. And so it's this really cool mix of all these different genres all together in one show. Like, I know, I'm a huge fan of like the Marvel movies, and I'm also a huge fan of like weird dark indie films, and it sort of feels like this amazing mix of those two mediums. So I think people really respond to it, and really connect with the characters on the show.
Wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the wonderful work you've done on stage. Is there any chance we can get you back on a Broadway show soon?
Maybe at some point. Maybe at some point. I mean, because of the pandemic, I moved back to Toronto, and I've been lucky enough to be working here and traveling around from here. but yeah, at some point I'll get back to New York, and yeah, maybe get back on stage in New York. Who knows?
What have you been busy working on lately then?
Uh, I shot season 2 of Hardy Boys, which I believe came out in the US, hasn't come out yet in Canada.
Ironic.
But I play, yeah, I know, especially because it shot here in
Shot hair,
Canada.
yes.
But I know I feel like a little offended for Canadians, like on behalf of Canadians. So yeah, I play a pretty great character in Hardy Boys. So I shot that. I shot a Hallmark movie, my first Hallmark movie. It was a
Ooh,
Hanukkah movie.
yes.
Yeah, right. Rep the Jews.
The tribe
Yeah, so that
spoken.
was the tribe has spoken. Absolutely. And then I wrote and performed a one-man show at the biggest theater in Toronto, at the Royal Alex Theater in Toronto.
Oh,
I just finished 2 weeks ago, a 6-week run. It's a show called Boy Falls from the Sky, and I'm in the midst of figuring out sort of what's next for that show. But it went really great. It's really fun to do.
hopefully you'll get a US tour to
Yeah.
come for it, or at least maybe a theater run of it additional. Maybe we could turn it into a film. So pitch me. You need some idea, come.
I'll pitch you. Yeah. I'll put my elevator pitch together for next time we speak.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Well, what would you like to say then to everyone who are fans and supporters of the work you do, whether it's on our stages or whether it's on our screens?
Oh, I mean, just a wholehearted thank you. Like, how do you express thank you in deeper, more meaningful words than just thank you? Yeah, I mean, since Degrassi fans, and I feel like all the Broadway stuff I've done, I feel like there's been a lot of love that I have received, and I'm just so grateful to be able to do what I do. So I'm beyond grateful for people that watch me and are fans of me, and I hope they watch Umbrella Academy, because I think it'll be pretty cool.